Halito, chimichokma, okay, chisnato.
How you doing?
Hey, good to see you guys
Yeah,
again.
good to see you.
Doing us proud, Ladies, are you ready?
Yes.
Got your arm all ready?
Yeah.
Loosen up for the wave. All right.
Yes.
All right. You guys doing hand out candy?
No popsicles.
Popsicles, what kind? The good kind?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why would we hand out the bad kind?
That's a good question. I don't know. I couldn't miss a year to come up and say halito.
Halito.
Good
How
to
you
see
been,
you,
man?
man.
Good seeing you.
What's the matter with you?
Let's go!
It's awesome. I love this parade.
And, you look like you're having a good time.
Most definitely. I enjoy this every year.
Oh, you come out here every year?
Yes.
How many of you think you've made?
Oh, gosh.
At least 10 or 12.
What?
10 or 12?
So you're pretty well experienced. You always pick out the same spot?
No. we always get the open spot. We don't care where it's at.
Yes, I like all of the regalia that the dancers wear and the ladies wear. It's just, I don't know, the colors and I like to take pictures and I like the colors. They make great photographs.
So are you going to go visit Red Earth later and all the art and stuff?
I would like to. We haven't decided yet.
Well, you can't just come for the parade and leave.
I know. We're working on the tickets. We're working on the tickets. This is her first time here. though.
Well, tell me all about it. What do you think's going on here?
Gosh, I don't know, but I love it. It's just awesome. It's just very uplifting.
Are you from here?
I'm originally from Texas, but I've been here for 20 years.
Wait a minute. You telling you've been here for 20 years? Your first?
This is my first.
Oh, something about that ain't right.
I know, but she takes me to bread dances out in the country, but this is the first time she's brought me here.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's our tribe right there.
I visited the museum initially, and it was really amazing to see some of the beautiful artwork. And my husband came down here for work, and so I had the pleasure of being able to go around and kind of experience the culture of Oklahoma. And so I'm really excited to, this is my first Red Earth Festival, so this is going to be fun for me.
I usually work, but I'm out here now. But
You're not playing hooky, are you?
no, I'm not playing hooky. You know, I'm with my wife right here.
Okay. Now, do you guys have a neat tribal
Yes.
background?
Yeah, she's Cheyenne, Arapaho, and Kiowa.
You guys here representing.
We represent. We putting them on the map.
Hey, it's how? Tell me about it. Is it cool for you to see? Obviously, you have a tribal background. It's cool to kind of see it all on display, right?
Yes, because you just, you kind of see where you came from, and the backgrounds of different tribes, and they give out free shirts and water, and how couldn't you support that? And my kids are, they're black, and Cheyenne, Arapaho, and Kiowa, so we just come out here to support them.
Well, I've been doing it for so long. I started as a child and just enjoyed it and just stayed with it. And my parents always supported me and bought me art supplies such as paints and paper. And I began entering in student shows, local shows, and eventually into the Philbrook Annual. And just went from there. I'm just depicting our culture, things that I've experienced, and things that I know.
My pattern, my original design, yeah, it's all cut. Actually the doll shape is my daughter. She's a ballerina, and she posed, and so I did her tutu and cut her shoulders, so she was my paper doll. I come up with the design, and then I enlarge or reduce what I see. I can draft anything. I can't draw like my mother, but I can draft just about anything, and then I'll put it in a paper doll, so to speak, and cut out the different pieces, and then traditional applique sewing, and then stitch them down.
My uncle was a commercial artist for a company in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he used to bring me all kinds of tablets and crayons and watercolor paper, and watercolors, and I guess in a sense, I didn't have a choice, you know. Much to my mother's chagrin, I started, you know, my canvas was my walls. I also like to do portraits, but warriors on horseback is probably one of the things that I love to do. You know, I'm of the Seminole tribe, but from watching, you know, movies of Western Plains Indians and the Plains tribes, I just kind of got fascinated with the Plains. All of them had a little intertwining, so to speak. So, you know, they were all, in a sense, kind of related, you know. I like to paint big, you know, and I like to, what I might say, a visual impact, you know, and that's what I like to create. I was kind of born and raised on a farm and a ranch, and I had my grandfather gave me a horse at one time. His name was Brocky. You can't just go and paint a horse. And I've done a lot of research on my horses, you know. There's a lot of horse people in Oklahoma, and people know. You know, so
It's a Choctaw-styled sculpture made out of paper mache. And it took a long time to make. There's like a framework beneath it, and then I just layered on the paper until I got the body shape. And then it was just kind of making these ruffles out of the paper mache, which took a long time. And then going back in with acrylic to paint it and trying to get in all the crevices so that it wouldn't show any white. Well, I'm a procrastinator, so I started maybe in the last week, and it was just every day I was having to put this on. I don't really know the time, but it was several hours. It doesn't look like it's paper. Instead, it looks like it's fabric, and other people have just been commenting on how much effort has gone into this.
I have been painting for the art shows for about 16 years. I painted for the family before. I'm actually a retired RN. Worked 35 years as an RN, and wanted to pursue, when I retired, more of my family history and culture, and decided to just devote my time to that, and so I love that. I want them to appreciate people. Mainly the people, the animals that I paint, that there are good things about those things in their culture and in our past as a people that we want to preserve. And so much of that has been lost today. Everyone's in a big hurry and things are real commercialized. I wanted to depict paintings that convey some meaning that is still there, that a person can hold on to. Simple things that people need to do that are good for their soul.
this long with Pendleton wool, it seems like you have to take all the instructions that come with how to sew a dress out the door. And this has a whole different meaning of trying to work the wool part of it. So, and you know, I try to stick with the latest fads and all the fashion and everything. So, you know, I do my own thing. So, now I'm just doing more of my accessories. It's what I do now. So you just put over your head, and then just fold the back side like you would a collar, and then, you know, voila. So basically, it's a vest with a big old floppy collar. This one is the first phase and second phase of the Navajo weaving. And so a lot of the stuff that I like to work with is more of Navajo geared stuff. So basically, this is more like a oversized collar. These are the type of dresses that I do at the fashion shows. This one here took second at the Santa Fe Indian Market Contemporary Wear Fashion Show. I like to mix my mediums. This one is more of a basket weave on the Pendleton, so totally giving it a twist on everything. A lot of the stuff that I like to do is working with natural fibers. A lot of it with the basket weave, the leather, the wool, and you know, all the different prints.
I do contemporary Caddo art and drawing, paintings, designs, silkscreen, mainly painting though. I've been doing art my whole life. I guess the Caddo specific stuff, probably the last 4 or 5 years. This one is a drawing done by hand, and it's based on our tribe's pottery. So it's almost like if you had taken a pot and kind of unwound it onto the canvas. There was a lot of connection with water and burial and moving on to the underworld. So this one's an abstract painting with a brush that is a combination of southeastern basketry, coil pottery, and beadwork. So it's kind of like an amalgamation of different things. The red is supposed to represent the earth, and it sort of has like caves or openings. That all relates to our creation myth story of emerging from the earth. This is Enoch Hogue, and he was the last traditional hereditary chief of the Caddos. So before the land allotments and we had chairpersons after that, he was the last actual bloodline of chiefs. And I actually got to meet his great-great-granddaughter the other day at a festival. And she recognized him from a block away. It was like, oh, that's my great-great-grandfather. So it was quite an honor. It's all about sharing our culture and history and letting people know who the Caddos are. There's not a lot of people that are that familiar with the Caddos. And we were once a really, really large tribe in the southeast, kind of on the western end of the southeastern tribes. But yeah, so it's kind of my goal to share who we are and what we're doing now.
Okay, I've been doing art all my life, and I'm self-taught, and I mostly work in watercolor, and I do it on clayboard, and I also do a lot of scratch work on the clayboard, which I add watercolor to. Many hours can go into a larger piece, and it's not very forgiving. If you make a wrong scratch in the wrong place, you've pretty much made a piece of trash out of your art. So I try to work slowly enough that I don't mess up. You never know what my subject is going to be. I have some that are based on just pictures that I see on rocks, and then I have a lot of animals. I love doing animals and people and Native American subjects.
I'm enrolled with the Comanche Nation of Oklahoma. I'm also Cherokee, but I'm enrolled Comanche, and that's on my father's side. On my mother's side, my mother's from Copenhagen, Denmark. I paint what I know, and I paint. I try to relay to the viewer some piece of my vision, what I see. I only paint what I want to see. I'm not painting necessarily to sell to a certain audience. I paint what I want to see, and I hope it works just even a little bit. When I was a young man, my father worked for the government, and I was born in Alaska. I've lived in the Hooper Reservation, Northern California, the San Carlos Apache Reservation in eastern Arizona. I've lived on the Cochise Reservation in New Mexico. So I've always lived around other indigenous peoples, and I'm always drawing, and I'm always painting, and I was always constantly mesmerized by the different dancers and the diversity of Native America. I don't want to paint just to make money. I don't want to paint to satisfy someone else. I want to paint what I want to see. I mean, that's what keeps me passionate. That's what keeps it alive. And it's also another reason why I rarely mute my colors. I want the bold colors of life. You know, I want these to reflect a contemporary indigenous culture that's alive and thriving and constantly evolving. You know, it's not mired back in a time period 250 years ago. The feeling that the colors and the movement evoke are a metaphor for our cultures, our beautiful indigenous cultures that are alive and constantly evolving every day as contemporary people.
Well, it was a real honor for us to be able to come out here and represent our great messengers. So, you know, especially for the young people. His name is Mianabe, and this name is real important. We don't take naming an eagle lightly. He came to us from Sia, the Comanche Nation aviary, and he was named after an elder in their tribe. And the elder in their tribe was Puiwat, which means blurry vision, or he sees poorly. So we took our language and gave him the same name. As Potawatomis, we believe if you don't have your Potawatomi name, the Creator doesn't see your face. So when we take these eagles in his family, they need a Potawatomi name. So his name is Mianabe, and he's just 4 years old. And in captivity, he could live over 50 years. So we're real honored we could possibly spend the rest of our lives with him. His injury is his eyesight, so if you see him, he's fully flighted. He looks pretty perfect. But his eyes have healed up as good as they're going to get, so he won't be able to hunt on his own. It's great to be able to show that connection at Native American functions, to people to see those feathers used, see where they come from, and that connection, that we feel like these are our messengers, and they can, you know, they fly so high they can see the face of God. So to see that living connection, but a lot of times when we take him out and he hears that big drum, he'll actually sing with it. So he knows that connection. It's very powerful when that happens. Everything we do, from taking care of the grounds there to taking care of these eagles, is all of that respect for these eagles. So it's a very humbling thing to do for a living.
I've been painting since I was, 24 is when I started full time, and but I drew since I was a child. I paint with gouache watercolor and sable paintbrush and mat board. Gouache is an opaque watercolor that I use a lot of water with it. I like to let things flow in my artwork. I like to lift up the paintbrush and let it lightly flow across the mat board, and that's kind of when I am finishing with the painting. I'll lightly let the hair strands go out and it just feels nice to just, like the wind, you know, feathering. In my artwork, I like to have people look and say, wow, that says something strong about women, vibrancy, you know, something, you don't usually see that in artwork. People's comments to me that they haven't seen artwork depicting women the way, in the fashion that I've done, but that's how I see women, and that's how I think other people see my work, the realities of the vibrancy and the liveliness and the strength and there's so many aspects of womanhood. There is a lot of work that goes into it, but it's enjoyable work, and I do have fun doing it because it's my job, it's my life, you know, both.
Probably about 48 years now, making my drums after I started. I started because there's big old factories in towns where they make drums, and they have a lot of false advertisement. So then I start going out and, you know, telling people and showing people how, you know, how drums are made. This big one, I had the lock for about 2 years in the shade, you know, and I kept on working on it. I burned the bottom first, and then I kept chiseling, and finally got it to where I want, where I can tie it. So it's a lot of process and work to do, but you got to pull a lot in intervals. I had to go about, I used 2 heights. 2 big old hides, and you have to do them in about 20 minutes intervals. You pull, then you go back, and you pull again. You know, you just keep on doing it. And I do all my drums by myself. I don't trust anybody. I twist my ties like that, like this one's here. It makes a better tone to a drum. But the ones you see that are company made and in stores, you know, they're straight down, the ties are straight down, and it's got a dull look. So, you know, mine I just keep natural, and, you know, I do what my grandpa used to tell me. I make all different kinds of drums. And I make ones like a chair like that too. And I brain tan deer hides also. And I make quivers, cradle boards like that. I get my tree stumps from the mountains in Taos, and I just pick the ones that have a lot of character, that are down and dry. And it takes a lot of time to work on them inside to get all the stuff inside, and they're about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 around. So it would be a hollow sound, you know. And the ones that are open kind of makes an open sound. And the sound just depends on the diameter of the drum.